Okay, Chuck, I'm going to hand over to you. It is 7 o'clock and we are now live.
Awesome, Christine. Then I will call the meeting to order at 7 o'clock. Everyone got a copy of last month's minutes. Any issues with those minutes? None. Can I get a motion to accept last month's minutes? And all in favor? Carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest. Does anyone on the committee have any pecuniary interest in any of the cases involved before us this evening? Dave?
No, I don't, Chuck.
Dan? Sean?
No, Mr. Chairman.
Barry? All right. Scrolling right down, our first file of the evening is the one which we are going to defer. Do we need a motion, Christine, to defer that till next month?
Yes, if I could have someone from the committee motion for a deferral. If committee wishes, if you would like, I can read the notice of application. I can read through the comments received if you wish before you make that decision to defer, or if you would just choose to make that motion now and we can carry on with the hearing.
Anyone want to hear this file before we hear it again next month?
I think Barry has a question, Chairman.
Go ahead, Barry.
Yeah. So can you physically see me, Chuck? Can you see when I hold my cards up? Do you see them?
I can. I have to scroll back and forth between the screens of my phone.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't think there's any need for that because it's being deferred. You know, I will happily put forth the motion that we defer this, or we accept the defer requested by the client.
And just to clarify, Barry, if I could, it was actually a planning staff that suggested the deferral, and the applicant has agreed to that deferral.
Thank you for the clarification. I'm still happy to put forth the motion to defer.
Anyone against deferring the motion? Negative? Then we will defer the motion until next month. All in favor? Carried. Screaming right along with the next one, file 20-A10. Christine.
The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 5871 Concession 2, formerly Sunnydale, and legally described as North Part Lot 6, Concession 2, and Reference Plan 29659, Part 1. The purpose of the application is to request the approval of the Committee of Adjustment for relief from the rural zone minimum exterior side yard setback requirement of 15 meters to 4.5 meters. The effect of the application is to allow for the construction of a detached garage on the subject lands. Comments were received from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, having no concern or objection to the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves minor variance 20A10 pertaining to lands located at 5871 Concession 2 Clearview and legally described as Concession 2 North Part Lot 6, Reference Plan 51R29659 Part 1, on the basis that it meets the 4 tests in accordance with the Planning Act. And that's all I have.
Max, do you have anything you wish to add to what to the file that's not already before us in the application?
No, I think everything would be before you. It is also noted, but just to clarify, the road that the detached shop is going to be closer to than typical is actually it's a seasonal road. So it's not like the road that typically it's used and doesn't get assumed in the wintertime either. But that is noted in there. And other than that, I don't think there's anything else to add.
All right. Any comments wish to be made by the committee members, starting with Sean?
No, Mr. Chairman, it seems like a suitable rural development.
Mr. Burton,
No, I have no questions or comments. Thank you.
Mr. Fortin, Fenton, Dan,
No, I don't really have any questions. It's just a note that everybody knows that that's a snowmobile trail area there as well. But other than that, no, I'm okay with everything else.
Dave,
I have no questions and or concerns with this application.
can I get a motion to accept this application as presented before us from Sean, Barry? All in favor? Carried, Christine.
Thank you.
Max, there is a 20-day appeal period before which you can get your permit from the community staff.
Okay,
All right,
no problem. Thank you very much.
have a great night.
You too.
The next minor variance is file 20-A11. Christine,
The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 129 Bateau Road, formerly Nottawasaga, and legally described as Concession 8, Part Lot 36. The purpose and effect of the application is to request the approval of the Committee of Adjustment for relief from the rural zone easterly interior side yard setback requirement of 4.5 meters to 2.8 meters. The effect of the application is to allow for the reconstruction and extension of a portion of the existing dwelling on the subject lands. Comments were received from the Nottawasaga Valley Conservation Authority, having no objection or concern with the application. And we have a recommendation from the Planning Department that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approve minor variance 20A11 pertaining to lands at 129 Bateau Road, Nottawa, and legally described as part of Lot 36, Concession 8, former Nottawasaga, on the basis that it meets the 4 tests in accordance with the Planning Act and with the following condition: that the easterly interior side yard is reduced to 2.8 meters to allow the rebuilding of the existing single detached dwelling as well as a small addition. And that is all I have.
Christine, do we have anyone in attendance at this meeting to represent this file?
No, it doesn't appear that Mr. Joshua Robotham has shown up or logged in, and I haven't seen any emails from Mr. Robotham advising that he wouldn't be attending.
All right. Are there any comments that any of the community members wish to make on public record on this file? Starting with Mr. Burton.
The only question I would have is that the applicant understands the conditions that are attached to this approval. Should it be approved, but he's not here, so I guess I can ask my question.
Mr. Davidson.
Wrong button. No, I don't have any concerns with the rebuild of this existing property.
Any comments, Dan?
My concern is the size of this property and the amount of minor variances that have been already put onto this property. It seems like they're just keep building and building and building on this house. I'm not sure why that there's so many variances already approved to this property, and he's asking for more again.
Before I get to helping to answer that question, Dan, Dave, do you have any comments?
No, I was going to basically to say the same thing that Dan was, but I do recognize that this was legal non-conforming prior to 2006. So it is what it is, and it was what it was, and maybe he's got the right size backyard, Dan.
No, he doesn't.
Rosalind, would you
And it's
like
a wet-
to care to make any comments on this publicly before we vote on this application?
Yes, thank you, Chairman Arond. Or Chuck, sorry. So I just will make a comment in that there's been multiple owners on this property. And so the minor variances that have been obtained have not all been obtained by this particular owner. So I was privileged enough to actually work on the very first minor variance application that was applied for. And that was the one where we actually looked at extending his lot coverage. So right or wrong, that actually still is in effect. So that one allowed for from a 20% to a 30% lot coverage. And in all fairness, this new minor variance addition doesn't actually even really completely impact that particular minor variance that was first obtained. So I guess there's not really a good answer for this other than maybe the committee would consider that you might not penalize the existing owner for the other things that other owners have done on the property, and that you would consider this person's request as like his first request, and that, you know, he's kind of bought into a property where, you know, he was lucky or unlucky maybe to have all these other minor variances applied for, and maybe that shouldn't necessarily be a consideration per se because they've already been dealt with by another committee. It doesn't answer your question. I mean, the lot was always very small. And so that was the nature of the creation of that lot at the time. I don't know whether that's helped answer or not, but.
All right. Anyone on the committee wish to make
Hold
a
on.
motion? Nope.
What
All right,
happened
I go
here?
back to, what's up?
What the heck?
Oh, I don't think it's, I think Dan might be having some troubles.
All right, I'll give my, there he's back.
Okay.
Does that help
There
answer
we go.
your questions, Dan?
My concern still is how big is the addition that he's requesting to put on there now? Like larger than what it already is.
Sorry, I'll just go to my planning report. If you'll just bear with me.
It's not that- the actual addition is not that big, Dan, because the actual real addition is only what's going out onto the deck. As Sean had mentioned, some of this is a rebuild, so a good chunk is actually rebuild, and then the addition is kind of out onto the deck, the back deck.
That's the way
So
I
is the
read it.
addition the deck, or is it part of the house?
Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Councillor Rao, for confirming.
If I might, I could share maybe the drawing and it might help with your question, Dan. I don't know, or maybe you have that in front of you, but it like the addition even as proposed is only replacing like an existing deck that's there. So in the one drawing that I showed, there is a red box around the addition and it's on page 9
Right.
of
Yep.
that planning report. It doesn't necessarily, I think it's kind of hard to see the actual numbers there, but
It is.
and I'm at a disadvantage in that I don't have my, but there is some numbers. Christine, I don't know whether you have the hard copy. I don't actually have my hard copy with me.
I do, and sorry, I was just flipping through.
I know when I looked at it and I
I
looked
think-
at the addition on the rear of the house, it wouldn't change the street
Oh.
view from Bateau.
No, it doesn't. And actually, I think on page 4 of the report, Dan, it looks like I did calculate it that the addition was going to be was about 18 square meters. So let's
How big is that in
really,
real numbers?
oh, no, that I don't have my conversion calculator here either, sorry.
6 by 3, Dan. Less than 4 by 5.
Do you
Yeah.
have a conversion calculator there, Christine?
I don't in the room that I'm in,
Oh,
but I was just bringing it up on my phone. So sorry, you had said 18 square meters, Rosalind?
yeah,
That's 193 square feet.
Small shed.
Yeah. An extra bedroom.
All right, if
No,
there's no other,
my concern is that the back of that property is a wetland area, and I don't think it's being recognized as that.
all right, my question would be if no one has recognized it as a wetland area, is it in our purview to recognize it as a wetland area?
that is not the subject of the application and before you, and I suppose that there is no EP zoning on this property, so I'm not really sure. I mean, unless there was a condition that you wanted to put in that would reflect where that wetland area was and possibly, you know, add a fence or some trees, that might be a condition, but again, I'm not sure how the addition or the request for the reduction in the minor for the side yard really impacts the rear yard, if that's where the wetlands are.
Right.
Because this addition, like the application is really just for the 2.8 meter side yard reduction.
Right.
And sort of maybe to clarify, to help on that too, or to add, sorry, I should say, Rosalind, is that actually, I think it already exists, does it not, for the existing on that side? And so because he's wanting to do a little bit more of an addition, he has to request that minor variance to allow that little bit of an expansion. So he's recognizing a deficiency that he didn't create as part of that build that had already taken place prior to his ownership.
I suppose you could say that that you wouldn't recognize the side yard setback for that addition, because that would be the new part of this. Like, or you could say you don't agree at all and that you want them to actually push the side yard in. But if you've been out for a site visit, you'll know that it's already existing. So that would be pretty hard to remove the whole house.
All right, I think we've beat this around.
Member Davidson had his hand up to speak, Mr.
Oh.
Chair.
Sorry about that. He's on page 3. Go ahead, Sean.
Thank you. So just for clarification, as I understand it, he's going to tear off the section that has the lower roof, right? Like when you look at the front of the property, when I visited it, there's the section that the roof drops down. So
Correct.
as I understand it, he's going to tear that section off, which currently has the 2.6 meter setback. He's going to rebuild that and make that section 18 square meters bigger, encompassing what is currently a deck. So he's ripping off a portion of the house, including the deck, and rebuilding it within that same footprint of that piece of the house and the deck. as I understand it. So you're right, the setback has been existing. It's been approved. The lot coverage has been previously approved, and adding this 200 square feet is not exceeding that 30% lot coverage. Plus he's building between the pool and the house, so he's not going deeper into the lot. He's just disturbing what is already built structure of some sort, whether it's house or deck, is the desire here. So that's why I'm okay approving it, because it's already within a building envelope that has been previously established.
Are we at the point where we can accept a motion to accept this variance?
Well, it sounded like Member Davidson just put forth that motion to accept it. And if that's the case, Member Davidson, I am going to second that motion.
All in favor of said motion? Any absent? Oh, okay. You're going as the nay, Dan? Okay. So
I
that
have
means
my hand up to approve.
the minor variance is carried, Christine.
Thank you.
If you'll let the people know there's a 20-day appeal period, it would be much appreciated.
I will do that.
All right, last but not least, minor variance file 20-A12.
The subject application concerns lands municipally known as 231 Collingwood Street, Creemore, and legally described as Concession 4, Part Lot 9. The purpose of the application for relief from the residential low-density zone maximum gross floor area of all accessory buildings requirement of 64 square meters to 76 square meters. The effect of the application is to allow for the construction of a detached garage on the subject lands. We have received comments from the Simcoe County District School Board having no objection or concern to the application. And we did receive a letter of support from James Bauer for the application as well. And we do have a recommendation from the Planning Department. Be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment of the Township of Clearview hereby approves minor variance 20A12 pertaining to lands located at 231 Collingwood Street, Creemore, and legally described as Concession 4, Part Lot 9, on the basis that it meets the 4 tests in accordance with the Planning Act. And that is all I have.
I'm going to assume that the name of Keith Bolter is representing this file.
That's correct.
All right, sir, there you go, you're unmuted. Do you have anything to add to the discussion other than what's currently in front of us on your application, sir?
Mr. Chairman, committee members, Ms. Workman, Ms. Taggart, no, we're pleased with the recommendation of the Planning Department. Would be happy to answer any questions, but have nothing else to add.
All right. Committee members, any comments, starting with Mr. Burton?
I have no comments.
Mr. Davidson?
No, looks pretty straightforward to me. Thank you.
Dan, do you have any comments?
No, no comments. Pretty straightforward. Yeah.
Last but not least, Dave?
I have no particular comments. I was pleased to see that a garage will be beside a garage though, which makes it even easier to say that there's no comments or concerns.
Do we have a motion to accept this application at this time? Dave, Dan, all in favor? Excellent. Carried, Christine. There is a 20-day appeal period before you can get your permit to start building, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Committee members, Ms. Taggart, Ms. Workman.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
So Christine, is there any new business that we need to discuss on the agenda?
I have none unless any of our members have any items they'd like to bring up.
Just one?
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, but I saw
Go.
Rosalind waving her hand.
Oh,
I'm just gonna leave now. I don't think you need me any longer. Sorry.
thanks,
problem.
Rosalind.
Good night.
The only one I have, Christine, is we really do need to do this in person.
Yes, I hope we can do that soon.
Any other new business to be brought forth by the committee members? None at this time. So our next meeting is Wednesday, October 14th. And with the deferral, we have at least one application for next month.
Yes, at this point, that is the only one. My deadline is next Monday. So I have been anticipating maybe at least one other application to come in, but I have yet to hear from them. So we may just have the deferral coming back. So we will see.
Awesome. Well, it was great seeing you all. And by the looks of things, we'll see each other in a month's time.
Great.
The meeting is closed.
A motion to adjourn.
Oh, yeah, we could do
So
that.
made.
Could we have a so made? All in favor?
Great. Thank you very much.
Good
All
night.
right, Christine. Are you